Fishy horror games. Terrifying. Horror always has insane potential when it comes to gaming. Video games are just a different experience than film. It's the only way for the viewer to become the center of all the bullshit. AAA releases vary when it comes to this genre. Resident Evil has many installments that mostly hit, 4 being the peak. I mean, I enjoyed Alien Isolation a bit, and Until Dawn definitely had my attention for 2 hours. None of these games really sit with me for too long. I mostly forget about them and just remember their stupid box art. Now, I didn't mention Silent Hill, which is very acclaimed in the horror scene, but I've never played it.
Credibility gone.
Yes, AAA companies do produce a bulk of horror titles, but name a single one that's released in the past 3 years that did anything of note. I mean, come on, they literally took a stupid formula where most of the scares are just jump scares, it's not scary. The sad part about it all is that most of the good experiences of horror lay in indie games. And I don't mean games that are found at 5 and below. Five Nights at Freddy's only released in 2014, and it has spawned more fan games than any other franchise to boot. I mean, the amount of titles that are out here, it is fucking crazy. It didn't help that the story of the game was vague enough to spawn fucking millions of YouTube views, and after that, Scott just decided, hey, let's beat this dead horse and just produce mountains and mountains of games. Then there is Slender, my ultimate nightmare. I've spent too many hours playing Slender games and its copycats, especially the one with Shrek. I think that it's best I leave that in my past and not reflect on it any further. What I'm trying to get at here is indie developers provide a brand new perspective when it comes to horror games, and they produce experiences that are much different than AAA, and you will honestly leave with something much more ratifying. One of the more creative works that I came across was Walk. It's basically a PS1 looking game, and it is insanely cool. You are getting stalked and you constantly have to walk, and eventually you die. You will die, and these dying animations are crazy, but it's insane how this game looks. And the way that it feels is much different than a AAA experience could probably produce, because this is so out there, and it's just a solo experience. It doesn't take much of your time, yet it is so impactful. A more involved and funnier one is The Night of the Living Consumer. My god, it is exactly like working at retail. Now, this is another aspect of horror games that aren't really present in the AAA releases. Comedy. It's not only contradicting, but it also just works really well with some of the worlds that these devs build. And there's a specific dev that has flown under the radar for way too long. Samer Khatib, or Snow Cone Solid Productions. He's mainly known for developing 2 horror games, PT and Giraffe Town, but he also has been around for a very long time. His magnum opus is Giraffe Town. It is an absolutely beautiful work of art. But before we discuss that, we have to dive into his past. Why? Because I hate myself. To end up where we are, we gotta go to the beginning, and the beginning is Kokoh Gear Metal. Damn. I didn't know what I was getting into, but this game, my neck is broken. This isn't me being stupid and f***ing with you. This is the actual game. The actual game, your head, your camera is aimed down, slanted. You cannot see shit. And this would be fine if this game wasn't a platformer, but it is. It is a platformer. You need to be able to see the platforms, but you can't. And the platforms, by the way, are bouncing. These aren't Mario platforms. They don't stop for you and wait. These guys go. The aesthetic of this game at times, I can appreciate it. And I can also appreciate some of the music in this game as well. It's also bad at times. Not to mention, the only thing that you can do is hold down spacebar and attack. You also collect these thingies up in the corner, and once you get 5 of them, you get a bag on your back. This lets you get 2 hits, but my god, it's so easy to not get hit. All you have to do is hold down walk and spacebar, and you are just constantly attacking. The enemies in this game are these red little blob things, and there's really nothing else that is in your way. Some of these levels have falling platforms as well as spikes. Now, the hitboxes in this game make the spikes not my favorite. This level, it makes you go all the way back to the start. So you have to go down here, and you have to keep doing it over and over again every time you hit the spikes. Also, it's funny, if you line yourself up perfectly, you can walk straight through during the cutscene. Yep, during cutscenes, your character can move and you can die. You also have this vehicle. I don't know why it keeps flapping its little dick, but it just goes. And some of these levels are quite fun, I'm not going to lie. Other times it's annoying, but overall playing through this game wasn't that bad. Now, the final boss. What is that? This whole game, you are just tasked with normal things, and now there's just this scary ass creature. The whole shindig here is that you just spam spacebar and it's dead. Goodbye. The game greets you with a participation award and back to the main menu. Well, that was 2 hours of my life. And I could have been playing Worms. This game isn't awful, but it could have been better. The same year, he released Moonlight Mountains. Mario Odyssey? Get out of here.
What am I looking at?
The point of this game is to go around collecting these cat coins and getting generators for your ship. I don't know what they're actually called, capsules or some shit. You're equipped with a rocket launcher and you are able to shoot things. Don't ask, I don't know what the these are, and they can also phase through matter. Everything can. So these eggs only give you 5 rockets, and that really sucks for the beginning, but by the end you have a few. So, this gameplay is very repetitive, and with the hills and the platforming, you will fall quite a bit because the controls are kind of douchey. You will jump, and instead of going in a certain direction, you will just spin. I'm also going to be the first to admit that I did not complete this game either, because this headless man just wouldn't die. His ammo only recharged every 20 seconds, and I kept doing it over and over again, shooting him, and he never died. So I don't know what happens, for better or for worse. Saber must have been going fucking ham, because he released a third game in 2012 titled Almond Hill. So, the point of this game is saving your cat that's stuck in a tree. We get the choice of first or third person. I really like that, thanks. This game is just one set of events after another. Go to point A, go to point B. That's really all it is. Now, if you do not collect all of the collectibles scattered out, there are 12, you will not be able to hit this red teleport button. And if you can't do that... Yeah, there's these scarecrow jump scares and this thing is roaming in the fog. It goes to where your cat is and you're like, oh my god, we gotta go get him! But then it turns out your cat has actually transported into a different dimension. Hit the teleport button, go find him, and boom, you're all good. Funnily enough, both endings trigger this 10-second countdown, so technically you can have the countdown till death and the countdown to go home at the same time. Yeah, this is stupid. Also, the jump scare is stupid. What the hell is this? Also, the constant piano looming throughout this entire game is just kinda meh. I mean, yeah, the footsteps and the twigs breaking are a little scary when you're playing in a dark room, but other than that, there's literally nothing that will scare you. There's nothing that can hurt you. Meh. Released a year later in 2013 is Forest Soup. What's wrong with Campbell's? In this game, you have this weird flying creature, and it suggests that, hey, we gotta stop for food, and we gotta eat some forest soup. That consists of bear, owl, and deer. So we start up the game, and... Whoa! This thing's menacing stare is so ungodly creepy. Just like the controls. The walking and the running kinda makes sense, but you cannot backpedal or run with the shotgun. You have this weird hat ability that does absolutely nothing for you and just makes you faceplant. Now, faceplanting makes you have to press space a few times to get back up, and pausing does this to you every single time. This skydiving level is BS. You can constantly fall into the void, which ends up being this little island that you see rendered in the distance. It is where the killer fish resides. And ooh, spooky jump scare alert! Once you get down to the forest, there are a bunch of different events that are queued to play, and oh my god, the stupid piano song again! Now, one thing that makes this a Samer Khatib game is the fact that not only does he have his signature snow cone solid mouse there, but he also has this very cool disco room. Look at this guy busted down. Here we get to listen to a cool disco beat and kill some mummies. After this, we are awarded Drip. There are also some lockers here that have a mummy jump scare, and the bus beeps and has a mummy pop out of it. 2 of them sit by the campfire, and 1 of them is playing the piano, and each of the 3 animals also has their own special event. The deer does some weird shit and teleports away. You open up the fridge, kill a mummy, and then it appears, then murder it. The shooting controls are bad. You cannot backpedal, so you constantly have to swap between the gun and your running. And it really gets a little stressful when it gets so close to you, because only one touch sends you to an instant game over. Then you have to do the whole thing over again. I am a pussy. I did not beat this game. And it wasn't my fault. On several occasions, the bear didn't spawn. The TV thing would flicker sometimes, and other times, the event wouldn't trigger at all. So I don't know what forest soup tastes like. So I guess we have to go to the next game. Hide and Seek Winter. Out of these first 5 games, this one is the most polished. The Toon 3D style sort of makes me think of it as a GameCube game. If only. So what I guess happens here is that our sister gets kidnapped and we have to beat this dude in a game of hide and seek.
Yeah, the subtitles are up. Whatever.
First level's not that exciting, just chilling here in some tree houses. So here we are with a train level. It's pretty simple, just walk over here, go on moving platforms that kinda stop now, and just keep going. We also get an update from Sister and the demon thing, and music here is pretty nice. Afterwards, we are here on a bike, and this bulldog can go through time and space to kill us. We must find the giant fish that our sister left for us, and then boom, we're in the hide and seek level. Now, I haven't really had to complain about the controls of this game, it's quite polished, but my god, the movement speed is so slow. This dude teleports all over the place, and you don't know where he is, and you have to find him 10 times in 6 minutes. And I know 6 minutes seems like a lot of time, but you move slow! So, you won hide and seek, and now he goes back to the Shadow Realm. And that is Samer Khatib's Legacy Collection. Now, all of these games varied in quality, but these were obviously his first 2 years of game development. He would have many more years in order to improve himself, and in 2016, he would strike us with Potato Thriller, or PT. Name of the game is obviously a nod to PT, the Silent Hill demo on the PlayStation. You follow multiple different stories at once, and honestly, you just have to experience it yourself. I'll get to it in due time. It is much too big to get to right now. I think it's kind of humbling to see everything that he went through in order to create what he has today. Some of the games have good music, some have really good premises, and others are just funny to look at. But finally, we are at the 2018 title Giraffe Town. It's been released on Steam and the Xbox Store. It's only $1.99, cheaper than a monster. No reason not to buy it. The game isn't littered with jump scares at all. As a matter of fact, it's quite somber. There's a constant blur and static to the image, making all the light foggy and such, and all of the models are very lifeless. But that doesn't mean that they're void of character. No, all of these characters, while they don't have voice acting, are actually very colorful. Everyone that we meet has distinct personalities, and it's quite amazing to see it. Alright, now I'm here to experience something scarier than Luigi's Mansion. Give it to me. There was a portal in your TV? I hope it's a portal to Wario World. We open up the game and we are sitting on a bench. We get a nice little monologue about who we are. We're just a simple giraffe. Nothing but the void lays around us as a child who is facing the fence asks us a question. Can we get a soccer ball? We chat with him for a bit before he turns around and whoa, he has no face. We eventually get to control the character and oh my god, we are born with slippery feet. Personally, I think that this is a good tutorial level as it shows you what the gimmick of the game is. The controls are a little bit hard to get used to, but you'll understand it as you go along. Playing this game with a controller is much easier than a keyboard, believe me. We get back in. We drop it anyway. As we play, you'll see that this game has a large amount of cutscenes. Now, a majority of these are going to be cut out because each cutscene is at least like 3-4 minutes long, the longer ones being 10 and above. There are a lot of dialogue boxes, but trust me, these characters are all written very funnily, and this introduction scene is pretty great. But we soon get to see how lonely this giraffe really is, surrounded by the void and he's alone at home. I'm also gonna be honest, I did play a second game while these cutscenes were playing. Doesn't mean I didn't pay attention to them, it's just, damn, these things go on forever. Now a nice little concert comes on from an artist named Love, who is the only other giraffe in existence, supposedly. He watches in awe before deciding that it's time to leave the house. It's time to go to the other side of town. So we get to look around his house a little before going outside, and this is where the game truly begins. We get a phone call, and we can either go back or continue. They're probably just trying to sell me something. Now, I go back anyway because why not? I pick up and... it's a death threat. So here we are told to wait 3 hours in our house, and if we go out, we will die. So we go outside and sooner or later we are thrown on the ground, called a deer, and beaten to a pulp. This game over screen has been going on forever. Now I know what you're thinking. Just stay in the house for 3 hours. How bad can it be? Well, we eventually used the TV as a portal, and we have to watch a 15-minute cutscene or skip it. Then boom, we're in the upside down. So, it's not too long before I realize that I have camera controls, but I cannot jump. It looks like we're stuck here, so we have to go back to the house and walk along that long, winding road. This is where the atmosphere of the game truly starts to set in. Now, the feeling of loneliness is one thing that is felt throughout this game, since there is a lot of silence and ambience only filled with some music. But as we control Giraffe, we slowly start to feel how hard it is for him to do anything. I know that the controls may just be bad controls, but it actually conceptually makes sense considering that he has trouble getting around, we have trouble controlling him. By the way, there's an exploit. Stand on this specific block, aim at that pole, go forward, boom, as long as you don't press away the text, you can walk. There are multiple checkpoints throughout this, and oh my god, it does not help. This level is still so long. At least the jingle is nice. So, we come across multiple different billboards. One is the debug, which is his future teaser. One is Would Be Gone, which is also from the teaser. There's this cool one with a John Lennon looking guy, and then there's the Giraffe Killer. This is important for later. So, after rain and snow and music getting crazy, we have finally reached the other side of town, and we are greeted with a truck. This is Tunnels, and there's a funny little bit about ice cream over here. Come to my truck. That is where the ice cream is. This is it. I'm going to die right here. This is what I get for leaving my house. Help me!
Are you ready for my ice cream?
Please don't do this. He actually helps the giraffe back up on his feet and gives us shoes. They grant us the ability to jump, but we make a funny little horn sound, just like he does every time he walks. And then we turn around, he's gone. Alright, so now that cutscene's out of the way, you finally think that you'd be able to play to the game, but no. Doghouse. Enter Big Dog. He is the big dog of the town. He's watched it slowly fall into the abyss, and he is here gatekeeping. So we play a little game of hide and key, and then he soon regrets it and helps us on our merry way. We open up the gate and damn it, another cutscene! This is the dev's self-insert. Samer truly looks wild. He's the only person who's able to show different emotions other than open and closed eyes. So Big Dog actually played a role. Meanwhile, Samer here is just waiting for a bus to magically appear. How do these vehicles travel? I avoided it earlier, but seriously, the van that came to kidnap us, what the fuck? Why was it fucking in the goddamn motherfucking driveway? I am literally in an abyss. How the fuck do you get to me? Alright, so we keep going. We go through the gate. This is very cryptic, by the way. It literally does not tell you that you can just open this fucking thing. More point A to point B action, find roses, get the key inside of them, and oh my god, we actually made it to Love's house. Now, this would be the giraffe using his wrist to gain this female's attraction, but oh my god. The giraffe killer has gotten to her and is wearing her severed head, but our love-stricken giraffe does not see it!
You pussy blind fool!
He's let inside, and then he's sitting down, he's offered coffee, and oh my god, he's behind him, and uh-oh. See, all of the other cutscenes are kind of just hit or miss, like, maybe you like it, maybe you don't. Hold on, there's an ant on my desk. That ant could never be found again, but what I did find was a lot of value in all of these cutscenes. The characters, and especially Giraffe at this point in time, it feels genuine. For the first time, this guy conquered the large road and now can jump and walk normally. He feels so confident, only for this to be his end.
It feels like a big stab in the guts, and luckily, it's not our last step. Tunnels turns out to be some type of demigod because he comes back and reverts our death, baby! Not only do we cheat death, but we cheat disability. We get to keep the shoes and we get the jump! Finally, the events replay out. We get to answer the phone, wait, teleport, and jump. So we find the elevator by platforming. Oh boy, love it. And then we're walking forward and whoa, someone left their piece! So it turns out that with the revival, Giraffe lost his memory, and it seems that it altered time a little bit. So I've neglected to mention the story. We learn much of it through the journals of Big Dog, which sits over here. So it turns out that this world is slowly being consumed by a dark evil in a different dimension. This is why basically all of the town and much of the roads have fallen into this dark void. Slowly the entire life surrounding this world is dying. We get Big Dog's first-person experiences with this, and it's kind of sad to see. He slowly ceases to realize that there are entities out there that are responsible for this, as well as much of the police force disappearing and probably falling away into the void, as well as everybody else in town. This is a helpless case, and there are a group of people who are seeking out giraffes and murdering them, sacrificing them to the beast. The beast is the thing that jump scares us. It is very resemblant of a giraffe. It also turns out that those scuba people that killed us earlier gave Big Dog a visit. However, he was strapped. But this does show that there is a correlated movement going on in this society where they are slowly getting rid of all of the giraffes in hopes that these sacrifices will please the being and hopefully save their world. However, nothing's helping. Only we can save the day from this thing, so we have to get equipped and keep going. This is finally a time where we can actually control the f***ing game. So this game is similar to Forest Soup in that you cannot move when you're shooting. Whoopee. We also have limited ammo, and it's limited to 8. In this segment, we are getting chased by these big-headed demons. They have an awful voice, and I swear to God, this level is even worse. 1 shot, the demons get set on fire, 2, they die, and they just keep spawning and spawning. Ammo is scattered about in this maze-like structure, and we have to grab 2 keys so that we can unlock the gate and we can unlock the house. Even though this segment is short, it will take you quite a few times because, my God, you keep getting ganged up on, and it is just so glitchy. It is so hard to aim at these guys. I cannot stress it enough unless you try yourself. If you are just a tad bit off, the bullet will skim them and go away, and other times you can hit 2 of them with 1 bullet, but I can't do it consistently. Beating this, we are finally near the end of the game. We do some stupid little shit here, and then this face starts screaming at us. Now, this place is obviously possessed. We go through the door, and it is the Mario 64 hallway, just reverse! We are at the final save point, and the game tells us we get to kick around the soccer ball that we found at the very beginning, and the physics are definitely not like the cutscene. We go through the door. This dude is beefy. Now I know what you're thinking. This guy only takes 20 shots. No, he takes like 60. I swear to God, he does not die. And this guy moves faster than you sometimes. He does this little arthritis-ass shuffle, and he just takes away 3 hearts. There is absolutely no invincibility frames, so if you start getting hit, you better get the fuck away, or you are gonna fucking die. If you shoot this guy like once or twice every few seconds, you are never going to complete this boss fight. You need to be able to pound out 6, 7, or even all 8 of your shots into him at once, stun him, and go grab another ammo pack and keep doing it. The best way to avoid this guy is to get him to run into a tree somehow or get caught on it for a few seconds, but I swear to God, it's not enough. Oh yeah, and f*** you, cunt boy. The arena is gonna randomly shift from black to white and teleport you into a random place. Eventually, you do become victorious, and here we are. He does not die. But who else isn't here to come to our aid than the Big Dog? Big Dog comes over here, and he's like, whap! But this fucking beast is persistent. It's all over. We're gonna die. There's no hope. That's it, you have done it. Now you take my spring kick! Finally, the beast is dead. This long story put the rest in. Big dog, look out behind you! This game is nothing but heartbreak. First of all, the love of our life has been murdered and decapitated. Next of all, the entire town and everything around is just completely gone, so even if we save the day, there's nobody left. On top of that, the only other being that was gonna help us dies. What the fuck? Now it is over for us. We are pinned against it. Apparently this is a wedding because Samer's here! All of this happens in the same cutscene, in the same 10-15 minutes. I swear to God, this game is just a masterpiece. Every single cutscene is just so vibrant, so alive, and whimsical, random. It doesn't feel like a horror game because it really kind of isn't. It's just an amazing story. Somehow I'm actually emotionally, connected to this big dog guy. Now he's sitting here bloody, all dead and war thundered. I am just so sad to see him go. But he says it. The big dog of our town dedicates it to us. And now this town is dubbed Giraffe Town. Scene fades, and then we see Samer Khatib walk up to a campfire and credits roll. This game is like an easy 2-hour experience, and gameplay-wise it might not be the best, but in every other aspect it is just absolutely captivating. It's an experience that if you haven't had before, you have to have for the first time because it will never be the same. This game is so out there, so wild, so random, so crazy, and I love it. Not to mention that if you press C on your keyboard, it will play a secret cutscene where Samer and Tunnels meet. Now, this really does show that these characters do have some sort of they feel like they exist beyond this game, because Tunnels here starts to kind of crack a little bit and he eventually abandons Samer in the middle of nowhere, showing that Samer is very quick to, judge while also being very alone himself. Then it ends with what? Our Samer just begins to wander universes forever, and it has nothing to do with Giraffe Town, but the fact that it's even in the game just heightened my experience when I saw it for the first time. This whole game, the first time I ever played it, no game has ever made me feel that way before. It costs less than a monster, it takes no bit of your time, and I've left out enough of it to warrant you playing it yourselves, because oh my god, this game has so much going for it that just begs for a sequel. The gameplay segments are fun, and each individual segment that occurs is also quite entertaining to watch all the way through. The music as well serves a very interesting purpose in this game. It is not forefront, but it definitely has an impact when you're playing. It just fills out the ambience a little bit, and it all sort of sounds retro, so it really does fit the older graphics. The execution and the story of this game is also very unique, especially to this author and game dev in particular.
Speaking of said game dev, if you're looking for more of his content or just looking for his legacy stuff, visit his website as well as his Twitter. He's making his new anthological series, Samer Hills, so get excited for that. I also interviewed him and asked what was a game that inspired him, and he said Deadly Premonition, the funny game. He also said Giraffe Town 2 was possible but not confirmed.
We saw a massive evolution in his titles from the first 5 that we played that were amateur, all the way to this game. Listen, I cannot recommend a game like this more, but it really does invoke something in me. And this experience is quite funny and magical the first time through. I mean, yeah, whatever, it does seem a little bit repetitive if you play it every single goddamn day, but, just grab some friends, gather around, and just watch all of this unfold, read the funny cutscenes, watch the funny English errors, and just have fun and relax. This has been Scone. I have more games to play, and until next time, Bashi!